Want some tips and tricks on hiking with your dog? Then stick around. We're going to go over a few things you might not already know. Or maybe you do. But stick around. Hey there, so we're going to get right into this. You know, hiking with your dog, I guess you have to ask yourself, you know, are you prepared to be hiking with your dog? Or better yet, is your dog prepared to hike with you? You know, that's the biggest question, because it's not about you. You know, in the hiking community, they have their favorite saying that is, hike your own hike. And essentially what that means is that you're an individual, everybody's different, and there are really no absolutes when it comes to what you can do, what your equipment can do, what equipment works for you, etc., etc. And if you are going to be hiking with your dog, that doesn't come into play, because it's no longer about your hike, it's about your dog's hike. So, you know, I kind of morphed that over to hike your dog's hike, because, you know, he or she is your Rhea. You know, he or she is your wingman or your wing pup or your wing woman. Your responsibility, first and foremost. You are taking that dog out into the woods, and they did not ask to go out there with you. Now, granted, yeah, they're going to love it. Gus loves to be out there, you know. I break out his packs or his leash, and he's like a little kid at Christmas time opening up presents. He's bouncing all over the place and whining and whimpering and barking and driving me absolutely nuts, and I forget things because he's distracting as all get out. But the bottom line is they're your responsibility, so you need to think about that before you even step out the door with your dog. Are you willing to do that and give up and put your dog in front of your needs and your comfort? Because that's what it boils down to, you know. Yeah, they love it being out there, most of them, but you have a responsibility. So you need to think about that before you even step foot outside. So moving right along, and I'm just going to kind of hit a bunch of things that are important to me and what I have figured out on the trail. I'm not a doctor or a vet by any means. These are things that I have learned along the way, things that I have noticed, and things that I have picked up from Gus's signals. So just so you know, these are just my opinions. Like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just a dog owner. Or should I say, I'm just owned by a dog, because he's over there asleep on the couch. He's been lazy all day. Anyways, yeah, so he's first and foremost, you know. And to kind of go back onto your responsibility, you know, your dog is your Rhea. He's your wingman or your wing pup or your wing woman, whatever the case may be, and you're responsible for him. He didn't ask to be going out there. So I guess probably the first thing we'll talk about is health. You know, yeah, you have to ask yourself, is your dog healthy enough to actually be going out and hiking and backpacking? Every year in the spring, I take Gus in for physical. Now, the cool thing about Gus's vet is that she's a through hiker. So she is fully in tuned into what we do, what Gus does, what Gus's limits are, his limitations, his abilities, what he should do, what he shouldn't do, what he needs, etc., which is awesome. So if you can find a vet that has that type of background, if you will, man, jump all over it. Have that vet as your dog's vet, as long as they're a good vet. Just because they're hiking doesn't mean that they're a good vet. So, yeah, so that's a cool thing. So I take him in for a checkup every year to make sure everything's working on him. He is a cancer survivor, like I've said in some of my other videos. So, you know, there's always that concern, and I take him in regularly for a checkup for that as well. So he's over there just snoozing. What a lazy bum he is today. Of course, we've got the fire going, so it's about, good Lord, it's about 75, almost 80 degrees in here. I'm surprised I'm not sweating. Anyways, so So yeah, take him into the vet, make sure that, you know, they've got all the shots, make sure everything's up to date. You know, last year before last, he contracted lepto because the year before prior, and I think I addressed this in one of my other videos, but in 2018, he did not get vaccinated because in 2017, he had a very severe reaction. Lepto, the vaccine for leptospirosis is kind of a controversial vaccine. It's a lot like the human flu virus or flu vaccine. You know, they take the most common strains of lepto because there's a multitude of different types of leptospirosis. They take the most common in your area, they put them in a vaccine, they vaccinate the dog for it. It's kind of controversial for a number of things. You can look it up, you know, do a Google for lepto vaccine. But anyways, I opted not to do it in 2018. He got really sick, contracted lepto, just goes to figure. So last year I went ahead and he came out fine. There was no damage to his kidneys or liver, which is actually attacks. We caught it very early, got him into the vet right away. But last year I vaccinated him for, he had no reaction whatsoever. So we were pretty happy about that. But the cool thing about my vet also is that she will prescribe, like last year we were supposed to go on this 10-day hike. And I asked her if she would prescribe an antibiotic that would kind of cover everything, like Giardia, lepto, and those types of things, should he get a strain of lepto that was not in the vaccine. And yeah, she prescribed that. That way, you know, when you're 5 days out away from civilization, it's going to take you a while to get back, and that could be a crucial time, those 5 days. So if you can get a vet to do that, that's awesome. So yeah, you know, when you're hiking with your dog, you really need to kind of follow their lead, their tempo, nutrition, hydration, rest, that all comes into play, and we're going to go over a little bit of all that stuff. Now, like I've said, I don't know if I've said it already, but I'm going to say it now, and I'll probably say it again. I am not a vet. I am going off of what I have learned hiking with Gus, on multi-day hikes, on day hikes, and just goofing around out in the woods. So take what I'm telling you with a grain of salt. Like I said, it's my experience, but I'm not a professional. I just go by what my dog shows me, by his lead. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make on this, is it comes back down to that hike your dog's hike. You need to be in tune with your little furry friend, you know, your little pupper. Anyways, so health, vet, we covered that. So yeah, let's get into something else. So another thing too I do, also just to kind of go back onto the whole vet thing, is that if we do take off after his initial checkup in the beginning of the hiking season in the spring, if we are to take off for a 5+ day hike, I will take him into the vet and have them take a look at him, also give him a quick physical, make sure everything's working, his hips are good, his ankles and all of his joints, and of course his attitude always is good for the most part. Sometimes it sucks, but things of that nature, just to make sure he's okay to go, because I don't want anything to happen while we're out on the trail. Well, we're going to start this second half of hiking with your dog, or hiking your dog's hike. I got about 25 minutes of footage that I videoed that my lavalier mic cut out on me, and I did not know it. So I think I'm gonna take that mic, because it's been nothing but a pain in my butt. I think I might take it out and drive over it with my Jeep a couple of times, and then throw it in the garbage, because it's frustrating. You do all that hard work and then it's just gone because there's no sound. I know some of you are thinking, well, what's wrong with not listening to Lan? But anyways, so we're going to do this outside. I'm going to finish this up outside, do it on my cell phone, and we'll see how that turns out. I know this mic works. Guess I'm just going to have to pony up and buy an expensive mic or something that actually works. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, we're going to continue this on and talk some more about hiking with your dog. So probably one of the bigger things too, obvious health. I mean, let's face it, everything that you have to do with your dog when you're hiking is important. It's not, doesn't come down to one thing, but you need to rest often. You know, just because you can handle walking for 2.5 hours without stopping and resting doesn't necessarily mean your dog can. You know, your dog's going to follow your lead. You know, they're going to do whatever it is that you do and you want them to do, or what they think you want them to do. You know, you need to be aware that your dog's probably going to walk 15 to 20% more miles than you are in a day. I mean, just watch them, especially if they're off leash. Zigzag back and forth, run up in front of you, come back to you, run back and forth, fall behind, catch up, fall behind, catch up. So be aware that your dog's putting in more miles than you are. Personally, I rest about every 45 minutes with Gus. And, well, mostly that's probably for my benefit too, since I'm old and fat. Well, I'm not as fat as I was, though. About 40 pounds less. So I don't have to rest quite as much. But I do need to take into Gus's amount of energy he's expelled. So he does need to rest as well. You know, terrain's going to play a huge role as well. The steeper the terrain, the harder it is out. That's all going to affect how much rest they're going to need. If I know it's going to be really hot, or we're going to be in an exposed area, say like above alpine or subalpine, where I know the heat's going to be beating down on us and we're going to be higher elevation, I carry a sun umbrella, and it's for my benefit as well as his, because like if we take a break, I'll go ahead and open that baby up and let him sit underneath of it. Sorry about it jumping around. I'm trying to walk smooth, but you know, I got 2 left feet and missing 3 toes. Just kidding, I'm not missing any toes. Although I'm gonna lose a toenail. I know, TMI. Anyways, open up the umbrella, let him sit underneath of it in the shade. Like I said, it's all about your dog, not about you. You take him up there, you're responsible for him. Another concern is their feet. You know, depending on the terrain, what I always do is I will check and research where we're going to be hiking, find out what the trail's like. You know, if you're going to be on the PCT, you can check gut hooks. There's lots of resources out there. You know, if we're going to be in an area that's got a lot of sharp shale, things like that, or we're going to be in moist, wet areas, I'll bring Booties. He does not like Booties at all. Hates them. Walks like a dork with them. Kind of like my glasses. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Booties. He doesn't like them. If we're going to be in snow, Gus and I a couple years ago hiked into a campground that was closed. It was in the spring, and there was a lot of corn snow. It had frozen the night before. Actually, the stuff was melting, and it started freezing, and it would melt and freeze. And so by the time we were on our way back out, it was kind of this coarse, corn, sharp, gritty snow type of material. And I didn't really, we were still fairly new to the hiking. At least I was new to hiking with a dog. And I noticed that he would dart off of the snow into like the tree wells where the snow had melted back, you know, 20, 30 feet from the trunk of the tree. And he would walk on those, and then he would cross across the snow and find something else. When we got back to the truck, I looked at his poor little feet, and they were they had worn down. They were kind of pink, so they were getting raw from that corn snow. And so at that point in time, I did some research, and I realized things like Mushers Secret's really well. It works really well. We take that with us everywhere. I typically would put it on his feet before we hike, and then at the end of the day as well. Another part of foot care is their nails. You really, really, really want to take care of their nails. Keep them short. My vet, I'll take him in, like I said, when I take him in for his pre-checks on our multi-day hikes with the vet, and even if we're just going on a couple overnights, I'll take him in and have his nails trimmed really short. My vet is a firm believer in keeping the nails short. That way he's not tearing them or cutting them, or they don't crack, especially if we're in a rocky terrain or in wet, muddy terrain. Food and water, nutrition, water, 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 water. Keep your dog hydrated. Now, if your dog's like mine, like Gus is, he doesn't always want to drink water, but you got to make it available to him. I've been in positions where we're in some very low scarce areas, or areas that are very sparse as far as water sources go. So water is pretty valuable. The last thing I want to do is pour him a dish of water and then he doesn't want it. So I'll pour it back in his bowl. And to be honest, there's been a couple times where I've actually drank it because I didn't want to pour. Did I say pour it back in his bowl? I mean pour it back in his water bladder, because he does have a couple water bladders that he carries that came with his Palisades, Ruffwear Palisades packs. But if I don't feel like pouring it back in there or I'm thirsty, hell, his bowls are clean. So I've been known to drink his water. He doesn't get very happy about that. But hey, you don't want to drink it? I'll drink it. I don't eat his food. That's his. Although he's got some pretty nice food that I make him. I'm not going to go into all the food sources and nutrition and all that stuff, because that's up for debate, and that is all personal preference as well. I feed Gus a product called Halo. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not getting any money from them. It's just when he had his cancer, I did a lot of research and I found that that was the most recommended kind of a holistic food. Actually, I think it is considered holistic food for dogs who have had cancer. So that's what he's been on. And then of course I supplement his food with stuff that I make at home. Sorry about the sniffles, but my nose keeps running. I don't want to wipe it like my dog does. You know, you flip the tongue up and clean it all off. And he doesn't want to wipe my nose for me either, so. But nutrition, like I said, that's a whole different, you could make a whole video just on nutrition for your dog, especially if you're going on overnights or multi-days, because it's just a huge subject, I guess is what I'm looking for. Food really depends on the trip. Like on day trips, I might take a cup of Kibbles and maybe some treats for him. Like I said, lots of water. Typically he'll help me munch down a Cliff Bar or cheese and salami. I know he's not supposed to have that, but he does. So we're usually not too concerned. However, I use the same philosophy with him that I do with myself on day hikes, which I think more people should adopt. And that's, even if you go out on a day hike, you should go out with the attitude that, hey, I might be out here for a day or two, or at least have to spend the night. Not necessarily if you get hurt, but what if you were to come across somebody else who is injured? My glass is crooked. Huh? I'm gonna fix those. How's that? Anyways, back to it. So I take that same philosophy with him. I'm gonna pack enough food for him to where, you know, he's not gonna be starving. You know, at least keep the hunger pangs down a little bit. When we're doing multi-day hikes, I did a bunch of research because I wanted to keep the pack weight down, not only mine but his. Not that he packs a whole lot. Typically I don't pack more than maybe, I think the most I've ever packed for Gus was 6 pounds. That was about 12% of his body weight. And then I started thinking, well, let's see, what would 12% of my body weight be? And that's still okay. But like I said, I like to keep it down, and I think I'm going to keep it down even I'm going to try and keep it down even lower. As I did the research, I found that most dehydrated or freeze-dried foods really, for the same amount of volume and the same caloric value, was about the same as what his Halo Kibbles were. And I didn't have to rehydrate, so that meant I didn't have to pack extra water or use that valuable resource in an area where, say, water sources were few and far between. So I opted just to go ahead and stay with his Kibbles. However, I did find a source for this dog. It's a pemmican made for dogs, very high calories. A lot of the sled dog teams and hunters use them for their dogs because it's lightweight, it's just packed with calories, and it's fairly nutritious for them as well. Now, a lot of the stuff that I talk about on here, the equipment and the food and stuff that I've been feeding Gus, you can find in the links down below for LighterPack. All that stuff is listed in there. I think there's links in there too. So you could probably follow those and see what I've been taking for him for food and stuff like that. They're going to increase their calorie usage just like you do when you're hiking. So you're going to need to increase those calories as well. So keep that in mind. Do your research, find out what best fits you. You're going to have to fine tune it over time. There's going to be no getting around that. Research it. There's a lot of resources out there as far as food goes, and people who have done through hikes with dogs. So check that stuff out and see what you can come up with. Come up with your own recipes. One of the last things we're going to talk about is equipment. Oh my word, what a plethora of stuff that is. And it's all expensive. It's kind of like camping gear or backpacking gear. If it says backpacking in front of it, it's expensive. Oh, unless you call it ultralight, then it's really expensive. Ultralight is synonymous with ultra expensive. You think I'm kidding? You know I'm not. I'm not going to get into equipment. There's just too much of it, and I'm going to be doing reviews on I'm going to do reviews on the equipment that we've used. In fact, I'm going to be doing his sleep system here. That will be the next video that I'm going to post. I've been working on this one here for a while, so I want to get this up and done. But my next post will be on sleeping systems, and then the next one after that will be on Gus's backpacks, because I just got his Groundbird packs the other day. That's a long story. I'll fill you all guys all in on that when we do that video. That will be coming out probably week after next. So, yeah, equipment. Yeah, not going to touch it in this video. Just get some. Try it out. So I have got to give a big shout out to my lovely wife, my bride, my best friend, well, next to Gus, of course, for this incredible jacket. This is the Enlightened Equipment Apex Torrid coat. It's a synthetic coat. I love this thing. It's lightweight. It's warm. I think she got it for my birthday or something like that. But this is great. It was referred. I've seen it reviewed. I think Darwin on the Trail reviewed it, and then my buddy down in California, Justin Anderson from Justin's UL. He's the one who kind of makes those pouches I have on my packs. He suggested it, and thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in those pouches, and again, I don't get paid for any of this stuff. This is all stuff that I have purchased myself or has been gifted to me by my lovely, lovely bride. But you can check out Justin if you're interested in cell phone pouches or water pouches. Check those out at Justin UL on Etsy. He makes great stuff, and it's very reasonable compared to some of the other crap that's out there. And there is some crap out there. Some real crap. Not dog crap, though, because we pick that up. It never fails. You know, I have done these videos about dog poop in bags and what people do with them, and it really chaps my ass. Yes, I said ass, and I don't mean donkey. I mean what I sit on. You know, look at this. See it right there. See it? Well, how do I do this? Right there. Right there. See it? Look at that crap. And I mean that literally. Bagged crap. Why? Anyways, I'm going to get off that because we're talking about hiking with your dog. Well, you know what? That's part of hiking with your dog. Don't do this crap. Bag it up. Take it out. Don't hang it off a tree, for Pete's sake. Insect repellent. Gosh. You know, I use permethrin on all of his equipment. His bags get it. His collar gets it. His booties will get it. His bandanas, his buff, his raincoat, all that stuff gets permethrin put on it. You know, in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have a whole lot of ticks up here. So, well, I can't really say that because we're seeing more and more of an influx of ticks and more ticks being on dogs up here in the last few years than we have in the past. So, oh, good. It's raining. The Pacific Northwest and it's raining. Go figure. Hey, if you're going to be in tick area, make sure that you check your dog every night for ticks. Yeah, you don't want to get diseases. Last year, I took Gus to rattlesnake aversion training because we were going to be doing a 10-day hike in an area that had a lot of rattlesnakes. At least it was rattlesnake territory. So I thought it would behoove me to make sure he didn't think they were toys. It was a very reputable company. I wasn't always crazy about the fact that they were going to shock him. They put a shock collar on him to basically train him on it. But he's a fast learner, so they didn't zap him too much. Of course, it really bothered me. But the bottom line was, the alternative, him getting bit by a rattlesnake and possibly dying, or getting zapped a couple times, well, I'd rather have him zapped a couple times. So, you know, that's something, your own personal preference. I carry Benadryl also, in case he gets stung by a bee or something like that, or even bit by a rattlesnake. They say that that will actually slow down the effects of the venom a bit. You can get a rattlesnake vaccine. I don't know how well it works. Some people swear by it, some people don't. We're not in rattlesnake country enough to where I'm going to worry about that. So he has not had that. I also carry a rescue harness. I got it from Fido Pro. It's called the Fido Pro Airlift. Luckily, I've never had to use it. We've practiced using it a couple times, and he's not crazy about it to start with. But he weighs 45 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Most people don't carry a pack that heavy. So, you know, to carry a dog out in your arms that far, even a mile or two, that's a lot of weight. So that's why I got the harness, and it goes with me everywhere, even on day hikes. So in closing, remember, it's not about you, it's about your dog. It's not your hike, it's your dog's hike. You need to be aware of them. They didn't ask to come out there, although they love being out there. They didn't ask to. So you're responsible for them. The memories you're going to make out there with your dog are going to be great. I love being out in the woods with Gus. He loves being out there. I love watching him have a good time, because that's what he does. Sniffs and pees on, poops on everything. You know, make sure their trip is fun and enjoyable. Gus, I'll tell you, when I break out his packs and his leash and his bandanas and stuff that he knows we take hiking, he's like a kid at Christmas, man. Open up presents. Oh my God, we're gonna go. Jumping around and barking and whining and whimpering. But be responsible. Be a responsible dog owner, because keeping them safe, keeping them comfortable, that's what's going to make the memories. If your dog's miserable up there, his feet hurt or her feet hurt, the equipment doesn't fit right, they're not getting the right food, they're hot, they're tired, they're not going to listen to you. Make sure your dog has strong voice commands. You're going to have better contact with people and relationships with people on the trail who are hiking on that same trail as you if your dog is well behaved than if it's not well behaved. Because let me tell you, people will judge all of us dog owners by your dog and how that dog handles itself out in the woods. There's a lot more to hiking with dogs than what we've talked about here. So do some research, check stuff out on your own. Hey, if you found value in this video, go ahead and click the like button down below. I do this every single time. But find it's the thumbs up thing. Go ahead and subscribe, because I appreciate all of you subscribers out there. Leave a comment. You know, if there's something you like, something I missed, something you don't like, leave a comment, good or bad, because I take it all to heart. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you gleaned a little bit of information out of here, be it right or wrong. Like I said, I am not a vet. I'm not a professional. I'm just a dog owner who likes to hike with his dog. So take it with a grain of salt. Take what you found of value, leave the rest, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.